Well, welcome everybody. The first part of this is going to be very un-Kaufmann-esque. I'm going to ask questions, and who's going to shine are these 5 outstanding candidates. The second part of it, I might get wound up a little bit. We'll see how the spirit moves me. I want you to know that in the VIP event, just ahead of this, we put all 5 candidates' names in a hat, and then we drew them out with 150 people as witnesses. And so that is the order of which we will hear from folks. I believe we're going to start with Adam Steen, and then we're going to go, somebody's got to help me. We're going to go from Adam Steen, and then I believe we go Brad Sherman, and then Randy Feenstra, then Zach Lane, and then finally we will end up with Eddie Andrews, I believe. So we will start. It's 5 minutes that we have. I'm going to ask them all 5 questions. I'm going to be very deliberate about this. Very, very neutral and deliberate. This is the time these questions are intended for these individuals to shine. And we've got a lot of shining from these 5 folks. They're all outstanding people. I'm a fan of all 5. And tonight, I'm a fan of all 5 equally. And let us start with Adam Steen. Mr. Steen. Go ahead, sit there. Over here? Yep. Go ahead and say testing.
Testing.
There we are.
I just hope the shine comment wasn't about my haircut.
Well, Adam, I would never say anything like that.
I wouldn't have said anything about that.
Well, first of all, and I'm going to start this out with every one of the candidates, and I won't take away our time from these introductory pieces, but first of all, thank you for running. Thank you for extending your neck. This is not an easy thing to do, and I believe we are all appreciative for every one of you gentlemen who've done that. So to Adam Steen, thanks for running.
Thank you.
I believe last time we had a good long talk, I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. I believe you couldn't sleep. I was on the road, and I didn't want to go to sleep.
We were heading back from Lamoni, and I can't believe you called me back. We talked till 11 o'clock.
Oh, we did. Great. We did. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your candidacy. So let's start here. We'll officially start this, Kane, so I don't get called a penalty here with 4:08 left. So we'll go until it goes to 6 minutes. So 5 questions. We'll start with being pro-life. Obviously, the faith and freedom crowd are very interested in life issues. Obviously, the Republican Party is very interested in life issues. What does being pro-life mean to you? How big of a role does it play?
We have to be pro-life. We have to be life at conception. It's fundamental. It's foundational. We have to protect life at conception. And I'll say this, right now, with those abortion pills that are being sent into the state of Iowa right now, we have to stop those first and foremost, get those out of there, and ensure that life is protected at conception 100%. 100%.
Another major tenet of the Republican Party and the Faith and Freedom Coalition, I'll bet every single person sitting out in this crowd, religious freedom, and the woke, crazy attack on our religious freedom. As governor and as a candidate for governor, how important is that to you, and what will you do to help us fight back on the crazy left?
My wife Casey's here with me. We've been fighting this battle for quite some time. Our son Riker is 10 years old. When he was 4 in preschool, we stopped a book called Jacob's New Dress from being read to the preschool class. It was a book about a boy who thought he should be a girl. Casey was in front of me. I couldn't even hold the door open for her, but we stopped that book from being read. This is an absolutely critical issue. We have to keep that woke, radical ideology out of our schools, out of our churches, out of everywhere. We need to ensure that our families, our children are protected first and foremost. Otherwise, we've got nothing left. We have to fight against that every step of the way.
Thank you for that answer, Adam. The last couple of years, there has been a tremendous amount of conversation about property rights, about eminent domain and the abuse thereof. Where do you stand on that issue? What can you tell these individuals how Adam Steen feels about eminent domain and property rights?
Absolutely. I've been very loud, and actually the Des Moines Register quoted me correctly on this. We have to solve that issue this legislative session. It is an absolutely critical issue. I will protect your property rights. There cannot be eminent domain for carbon sequestration, flat out, full stop. We should not and cannot use eminent domain in that situation.
Another tenet of the Republican Party and this crowd. I have a feeling that's why a lot of you in this crowd right now are Republicans, because of that overlap in our principles. And school choice, educational choice of our families and Iowans. Where does Adam Steen stand on this? And as governor, what would you do to promote school choice?
The school choice bill, amongst many other bills that the governor was able to spearhead, was one of the greatest pieces of legislation that we've done. I will protect school choice. I will move school choice forward. Right now, school choice is at risk. Rob Sand, I'm the only candidate that has experience going toe-to-toe with Rob Sand. I know him. I know what he says. I know what he actually means. I know what he does, and I know what he's saying that he does. We have to protect school choice. He will roll that back. From my perspective, there's many areas that we can expand into school choice. We have to get our public schools back on track, let the privates, let the independents do what they need to do. But I am a fan of opening up public schools to classical education. We have to remove, thank you. We have to remove the ridiculous requirements, the ridiculous standards that are being forced down upon our public school teachers that don't allow our teachers to teach. They're not allowed to teach, and we see it in our 10-year-old Riker. When in reading class, he is judged on how fast he can read. He reads with 100% accuracy, 100% fluency, but he has a rare genetic disorder that doesn't allow him to read fluently. He doesn't read fast. So he gets zeros on his papers. And with tears in their eyes, teachers will look at us and say, this is what we are required to grade him by. It's ridiculous. It needs to be stopped. We need to get public schools, level the playing field for public schools to allow teachers to teach and kids to actually learn.
Thank you for that answer. We got just a little bit under 2 minutes, and I only have one question, but it's a broad one, and you can take this group anywhere you want to go with it, and that is, what else do you want Iowans to know about Adam Steen? And go wherever you want to go with this, Adam.
I've only got 2 minutes. Who here saw the debate on Tuesday night? That was a phenomenal night. I showed up because you all show up. I showed up because this is a spiritual battle that we're in. This is a spiritual battle. This is a battle of good versus evil that we're facing right now. Governor mentioned Spanberger from Virginia. Right now, Rob Sand is doing everything he can to come in and decimate this state. We need a candidate who's got scars, who's been in fights, who's been knocked down, who doesn't stay down. I've got 18 years in the business sector. I owned companies for 18 years. For 5 years, I had the honor to work with Governor Reynolds running the Department of Administrative Services. It's the operational entity of the state. That's where I went toe-to-toe with Rob Sand. I'm an evangelical Christian conservative. I have a rock-solid biblical worldview. Thank you. An Adam Steen candidate not only has the business background, not only has the government operations background, but he's got the worldview, the tenacity, and the ability to take on Rob Sand, to beat Rob Sand, to keep Iowa free, to protect our families, to protect our children. We are going to win this thing. There's no such thing as a loss here. We are going to win this thing. We're going to beat Rob Sand. I would love for your support on June 2nd. We'll win June 2nd. We'll win in November as well. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the great state of Iowa.
Let's give Adam Steen a round of applause.
I am sorry to interrupt, but there is a red car parked in front of an overhead door, license plate PVE197, and our caterer can't get out. So appreciate it if you could move the car. Thank you.
I appreciate that. That was inherently probably more interesting than me, I would guess. Thank you to Adam Steen. Our next candidate is Brad Sherman. Brad, would you come up to the stage, please? Brad, I'm going to start the same way with you that I'm going to start all the candidates. Sincerely, thank you. You are putting your neck out there. You're putting your principles out there. It's not an easy job. Everybody in this room thanks you and has gratitude for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Of course, you and I got to know each other very well in Milwaukee at the convention.
Yeah.
And I will say this much about Brad Sherman. He is, I would say, over 50% responsible for getting a picture of Steve Scheffler dancing. And we talked a little bit ahead of time, and both of us have been in therapy ever since.
Yeah, Steve, we tried to find a video to play of this video, but yeah, we would. That would have been fun tonight.
All right, Brad, well, we'll get started with the questions. And as I mentioned before, the Republican Party in this crowd is overwhelmingly pro-life. Life is a priority for all of us. What role does that play in your life and in your candidacy?
Well, I'm absolutely pro-life. I don't think you can be more pro-life than I am. I was co-founder and board chair and president of Informed Choices Medical Clinics for 10 years. We had several medical clinics around the state, and we were showing young women live ultrasounds of that baby in the womb, and almost nobody sees that and thinks it's just a blob of cells any longer. And so that's pro-life. And I think, and of course, as much as we protect pro-life, I think we need to end these pills coming into our state as well. You know, I was happy to vote for the heartbeat bill when I was in the legislature, but we need to go better. We need to go all the way to life at conception. But also, life is more than just the unborn. It goes all the way to the other end of life. So we need to make sure our elders are being protected. We need to have elder care, make sure our nursing homes are taking care of them properly. And then there's life in between, the quality of life. And so we need to make, that addresses all the high cancer rates that we're dealing with, the mental health issues that we're dealing with. And so these are just, this is a big picture of life. We got to have the big picture and build a culture of life here in Iowa.
Thank you for those answers. We know that we are in a battle with the crazy woke left, and one of the targets that they have, and it is a prime target that they have, is our religious liberties. As governor and as a candidate right now, what are your plans to battle the left and hold strong for our religious liberties here in the Hawkeye State?
Well, I have a broad range of experience, but I've been a pastor for 45 years, and we've been fighting this battle to put godly principles back into the public square for decades and decades. You know, our campaign slogan is restoring the foundations of freedom. That's not something we just came up with. I've been doing worldview seminars for decades. I've taught these seminars all over the state, all over the Midwest. You know, this is my heartbeat, to restore the foundations of freedom. And wokeism is destroying that. We need to get not only pornography out of the hands of children in our public libraries. I don't see why public money would even pay for any pornography in a public library. It just needs to be gone. So, when it comes to, maybe some of you saw a video of Rob Sand, and they asked him how many genders are there. And he started dancing. He couldn't answer the question. It was dancing this way. And I've kind of come up with a little name for that dance. It's called the shifting sand shuffle. So anyway, but nevertheless, he couldn't answer the question, how many genders are there? And he finally said, well, I think there's 2. But I'm looking forward to unpacking Rob Sand's baggage.
Thank you for that answer. I saw that video. All of you need to say it. You've never seen such a shifty evasion of principle in your life. It's quite amazing that he's even gotten as far as he has. The last couple of years, we all know that property rights, eminent domain, the use of it, the abuse of it has been at the forefront of a lot of discussions in the legislature and among Iowans. Where does Brad Sherman stand on property rights, eminent domain, and as governor, how would you handle that issue?
Well, property rights is one of the foundational principles. It's described as pursuit of happiness, but life, liberty, and property is a foundational, unalienable right that's given to us by God. If we didn't have property, there wouldn't be anything called stealing, would there? And one of the commandments says you shall not steal. And so, but here's what I say all over the state, and we've been to 363 meetings around the state. I tell people, a private company who's not a common carrier for a product that's not a public utility should never, ever get to use eminent domain. It's just that simple. It's just a simple thing. And of course, I always like to throw in a little joke with that, and the joke is that some things are so simple, though, you need a lawyer to misunderstand it. So anyway.
At $500 an hour, right?
Exactly.
School choice. There's nothing really more fundamental in being an Iowa American than choice. We obviously have had a governor that has pushed that to the forefront of the state and the nation. Where do you stand on school and educational choice? What's left to be done? Talk about Brad Sherman and school choice.
Well, I voted for the ESA bill to expand full school choice. I was happy to vote for it, and I'll continue to stand for it. Rob Sand says that it's public money for private schools. It shouldn't happen. That's what he says. Well, we got to remember something. Public money is our money. Public doesn't make any money. Public money belongs to the people, and people are paying taxes, need to have a say in their children's education. Parental rights is absolutely essential when it comes to this, and so I think thank you. I think the more we can expand school choice, and I'll say this, I appreciate public schools. We have to have them. We need them to be the best they can, but we need to replace Common Core with common sense. We need to put these values back, these constitutional values that our nation was founded on, these principles of patriotism, et cetera, back into our children's minds at the elementary level. We need to build that foundation for them. And so, reforming education is one of the biggest principles I have because, George Mason, who's the father of the Bill of Rights, he said, if free people don't examine their liberties and how they were obtained, they risk losing these rights. That's essentially saying we have to educate our people on how we achieve the freedoms that we enjoy, or we won't have them any longer.
Thank you for that answer. I have about a minute left. I'm going to let you talk to this group in any direction you want to go. Other things that you believe that Faith and Freedom tonight needs to know about Brad Sherman and the Brad Sherman candidacy.
Well, being here at Faith and Freedom is a little bit like coming home to me. I served on the board of this organization for, 15, 20 years. I don't know. It was a long time, and it's been a while back. But I appreciate the work of people like you. I believe deeply in the grassroots. The fact that you are here tonight shows that you are the grassroots. And that's what I believe in. And that's why we've been to 363 meetings around this state. And that's why my experience is unmatched when it comes to grassroots. Long before I ever thought I would run for office, I was involved in the grassroots. I helped with presidential campaigns all the way back to Pat Robertson. I've been a county chair. I've led caucuses, organized caucuses. I've chaired county conventions, and I've been a delegate to all the conventions all the way to the national level. And these are things you do as a volunteer on your own dime. And, I'm not counting the grassroots work of campaigning. Just about everybody works in the grassroots when they're campaigning. I'm talking about the experience I have in grassroots. I understand grassroots. I believe Iowa needs to be a grassroots state. We need to keep the caucus and the First in the Nation thing going because we're an example to the rest of the nation for that. And so I would also say that my broad range of experience, I grew up operating dozers and drag lines and doing farm drainage work. We dug a lot of ditches and kept the ditches cleaned out so that the water didn't back up into the field and become a swamp. And so my standard joke at this point, which many of you have heard, is that I literally have swamp draining experience. And so, but that's a good skill, I think, to have in government. So we need transparency, just like we need open ditches for our fields. We need transparency in government. That's a big priority for me, is to initiate programs to bring transparency into our government, and that a lot of things will get cleaned up, even the property tax issue. If we had transparency, the people would fix it on a local level a lot more than what we realize. So am I out of time?
I got 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Well, ShermanForIowa.com. Check out our website. We really appreciate your support, and we've felt tremendous support all over this state, and it's an honor to be here with you tonight.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you. That's two. Our third gubernatorial candidate that's going to speak to us tonight is, we're on the right side, is Congressman Randy Feenstra. Randy, come on up. Chairman, how's it going? I'm just fine, thank you. Good. Go ahead, I think it's a live mic. I'm trying to, as you can tell, I'm trying to start out something and humanize all these fine individuals that we have. And I don't know if you remember this, but the first time we had a RPI fundraiser in Sioux Center, I don't know, many of you probably know this, I don't like to fly. I have a strong fear of flying. It's a control deal. And yes, I know it's safe. I've heard all the arguments, don't even try. So I'm going up to Sioux Center. The congressman at that time is picking me up and taking me to the event. Well, remember, we're flying out of the Clear Lake Airport. And I'm not making this up. We're having the event at the Surf Ballroom. And when he's taking me back to the airport, it is raining and chilly out.
Is that the day the music died?
Oh, yes, that was, I tried to be cool. I tried to act like it was no big deal. And I'll never forget, somebody must have told you I was, and all he said is, It's fine. We got a great airport. That was calming to me, but that's my strong memory of you trying to call me as I was taking off after being at the surf ballroom with my favorite flag. So
You could be the Big Bopper. I mean, no resemblance there.
So thank you. I'm going to start again. First of all, thank you for your previous service, but thank you for extending your neck. Thank you for running for governor. Every single person in that room, in this room right now, thanks you for putting it out there for everybody. And as you know very well, being pro-life, the life issue is critical. It's a principal tenet in our platform, and it is a key issue and a priority for many of you in this room right now, probably all of you in this room right now. Tell us where Randy Feenstra stands in terms of pro-life and how important it is to you and your candidacy.
Well, first of all, I just want to quick say, we got 1,100 Christian conservative activists in this room. That is incredible to be here. In Iowa, thanks for everyone for coming. All right, we're all customers and taxpayers also. So the most important thing for all of us, right, for all of us should be being pro-life. Every life matters. And we're all Christians. And the Bible teaches us this. The Bible teaches us that we are created for a purpose and for a reason. To further God's kingdom, to make sure that we are disciples of his word. Right? That's what we're here to do. Right? God sent his only son to die on the cross that we might be saved, that we might have salvation, to rise again. Right? You think about pro-life. That's what it is. And I'm so excited. We helped write the reconciliation bill, the big, beautiful bill. You know what's in that bill? To defund Planned Parenthood. Trump and I, we made it happen. We absolutely made that happen. I was in the U.S. Iowa Senate when we passed the heartbeat bill, which was wonderful. We got to do more. I got an A rating from Susan B. Anthony and from Iowa Right to Life, all these things. We got to continue to push this agenda, everyone. Right? Every life matters, both born and unborn, and we got to take care of women when it comes to these situations, and work with them and walk beside them and tell them what it means and how important their child is.
Thank you for that answer. The woke left is obviously attacking us in Washington, D.C. It's attacking us on the coast, and it's attacking us in Red Oak and Decorah and Des Moines and every place. Religious liberty is one of their aims. It's one of their goals. Talk about Randy Feenstra and how you're going to fight that battle.
They're attacking it every single day. Every single day. When I'm in Congress, every day it's about taking away our rights. You think about our Constitution. What is the first thing in our Constitution? That we have a right? We have religious liberty. We have a right to what we say. Unlike China, unlike Iran that we're fighting with right now, we have the right to religious liberty. And that's, to me, this should be the foundation of where we all stand. How do we further the kingdom of God? It's that we promote it, that we proclaim it, that we can be out there exclaiming to everyone that God is the only truth and the light. And if you want to be saved, you got to go through him. But that's how important religious liberty is. And we got to fight for it every day, standing on the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. That's where it begins. And so we stand on the Bible, and when I'm governor, I'll stand on the Bible, stand on the Constitution, and make sure that we proclaim it. I can think of Charlie Kirk, by the way. You know, he's always said, we have to be civil, but we got to be passionate. We do. On these issues, we got to be passionate. We got to make sure that everyone knows what we stand for. As Christians, we got to make sure our light shines, and we do that through religious liberty.
Thank you for that answer. As you know, the last 2 years, property rights, eminent domain, the abuse of eminent domain has been a major topic of conversation. Talk about your views of this topic.
Absolutely. I'm absolutely against using eminent domain on anything. You think about where we're at as a state. Our number one economic engine is agriculture. Agriculture. I'm from Sioux County. All right, that's all we have. We have agriculture. Our family farms and those that own property should have the right to protect their property and never have it given over to some business that says, hey, I want to take your land for a pipeline. Should never happen. And I'll make sure when I'm governor that never will happen. We have to protect our property rights. The property belongs to the American farmer, the Iowa farmer. It belongs to each of us and not anything else. And if somebody wants to run a pipeline or whatever it might be, then it's negotiated between the private property owner and the business. And if the private property owner says no, that's it. That's where it should be.
Thanks for that answer. Educational choice, we've already established in here many times. We had a governor that led, and it's still a major issue, significant probably to all 1,100 people in here. What is your view on educational choice? How would you advocate?
I'm a product of educational choice. I'm a product of school choice. My children are products of school choice. They both went through Christian schools and Christian high schools, Christian colleges. I taught at Dordt University, one of the most intentional Christian colleges that we have in our great state. Here's the deal. We must have a robust school choice program. And if a parent wants to send their kid to a charter school, Christian school, wherever it might be, they should be able to have that choice. Right? And it should be for every child. A child that has special needs, they should be able to go to the school of their choice. That's why it's got to be robust, and we have to be the most robust state in the country when it comes to school choice. It brings up all boats, and that's how you create world-class education in this great state.
Thank you for that. One final question, 50 seconds. What else do you want people to know about Randy Feenstra in this room right now? The floor is yours.
So, fourth generation Iowan, born and raised in Hull, Iowa. Met my wonderful wife at the local pizza ranch. We've been married 33 wonderful years. We have a pizza ranch romance. It's awesome. I have 4 wonderful children, but here's the deal. My faith is my guide. It's my very foundation of where I do everything, right? My children and I, we've gone to the same church since growing up to where I am today. We've gone to the same schools. I know how important this state is. I love this state. And my vision is this. I want to make sure that we are the most business and ag-friendly state in the country. Number 2 is that we have world-class education. Number 3, that our kids stay right here. And number 4 is that we have accessible, affordable health care, right? And making sure that we never allow men and women's sports, and there's 2 sexes, male and female, that's it, 2 sexes. And that we will make sure that we protect the Constitution. First, Second Amendment, right to bear arms, is so important. We stand on the Bible, we stand on the Constitution, and that's how I'll govern, and together we will beat Rob Sand. And by the way, this guy is the reason we're first in the nation. He's awesome. We have to make sure we keep him around.
But don't forget about that red car that's preventing catering from leaving. I think our 4th candidate is Zach Lane. Zach, would you come on up to the stage? Our 4th of our outstanding candidates. I'm trying to, this year my goal was to sit down and have a conversation with all of the individuals that were running for governor. And Zach, you were the last meaningful conversation, long conversation we had. Had breakfast in Wilton, Iowa. What was it, about a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you set it up. There's people in there saying, hey, I'm voting for you. Did you make this up for me?
I did. I was just in there and letting I like bringing people in the local cafe because then I fool my hometown into thinking that I am somebody. But I do appreciate the length. I think we set aside about 30 minutes to talk, and we were in there well over an hour, so I appreciate that. I'm going to tell you what I've told everybody else. Sincerely, thank you. You are extending your neck out here. This is your first foray into politics. Everybody in this room thanks you with gratitude for running.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll start the clock.
There's a clock.
Yeah, that's why I keep looking up, by the way. I'm not staring at anybody. I'm watching the clock up there. Okay, so pro-life and life issues, critical for this party, critical for this room, critical for this organization. Talk about Zach Lane and the role of life issues in your candidacy.
I think this question comes up very often. I think, it is foundational. There's many of these questions I could probably say, yeah, like he said before, we have great candidates running in this race. I truly believe that. And I'm very honored to be running alongside these guys. But I am pro-life at conception. I have no apologies for that, nor would I ever have an apology for that. I believe life is foundational. But, I think about this in the sense of our heritage and our culture. Much of my campaign's about that. And we have this in many other places. We are a country that leaves no man on the battlefield. That's part of our tradition. Someday there's going to be a great movie made about what we did to save that soldier, that downed airman in Iran when he was shot down. And I say this, does anybody here think that Vladimir Putin would send 20 airplanes in to save one man? He'd send a missile to destroy that person because it's a liability. We protect life. That's what we do. But I'm going to say this. Life doesn't, the protection of life doesn't end at birth. I'm very proud to be the first candidate ever to be endorsed by the MAHA organization that's fighting for Bobby Kennedy's, MAHA principles in Washington, D.C. And I think about right now, we currently are, the next generation is facing a reality that is that they're the first generation in recorded history to likely have a lower lifespan than the previous generations. We have to make sure that we are fighting for healthy food, for less medication for our children, for clean water, for cancer. And by the way, pulling the COVID shots off the market is a life issue. We must end what's happening with that.
Thank you for that. You know about the battle, the woke left. They are waging a battle. It's real, and it's right here in our backyards in the Hawkeye State. Religious liberty is their goal. It's their aim. How will Zach Lane and a Zach Lane governorship fight back against the woke left on that issue?
At first, I think we need to understand that for a very long time, the left has been purposefully attacking the institutions in our society, and we can see them crumbling. My friend Jordan Peterson once said to me, Zach, we are currently living on the corpse of our ancestors, on what they built. They built something unbelievable for us. The entire world wants what our ancestors built. And so when I look at this, you look at these institutions of society, they absolutely have been attacking them. I have an ad on TV right now that's talking about Marxism in classrooms. By the way, the left does not like that ad at all. I found that. But here I found a lot of people who do like that ad. And so when we think about this, to me, the foundational part of this goes back to education. I really believe this. And number one, when we have teachers that are pushing political ideologies in our classrooms, their teaching licenses should be revoked, period. This is not what parents send their kids to school for, but that's the first foundational piece of this. We have to protect the kids in this because we know that's where a lot of the battle's happening. Wokeism, I believe, and I'll be hit for saying this, is a mental disorder. It absolutely is. It is one that is aimed at destroying the foundations of our society and making us easier to control, and then ultimately pushing more authoritarian policies in our lives, which it seems that's never ending. We just got kill switches in cars in Washington, D.C. We cannot stop. It seems like we can't stop this march towards authoritarianism. It must be stopped. As governor, it will be one of my top priorities to make sure we do that.
Thank you for that. You're well aware, being out on the trail, property rights, eminent domain, abuse of eminent domain is a huge issue to Iowans. Can you talk a little bit about your views on that issue?
Yeah, I'm very glad that the candidates that are up here support this the way I do as well. No eminent domain for private gain, period. This goes back to why our ancestors came here. Much of our ancestors actually came here not for religious liberty. The Reformation had happened. They had a lot of that in Europe. What they didn't have was the ability to own the ground under their feet. Feudalism was still active. They couldn't own ground. And so when you come here and you talk about something as foundational as this, as owning the property at your feet, it just has to be a hard no. And I'll tell you, I've fought this on my own property, and I've won. And when I went toe-to-toe with them, I said to them, look, you have eminent domain authority. I'm going to fight this, and you're going to beat me. But I can drag this out for 7 years, and I'll spend every dollar doing it. 2 weeks later, they called me and said they changed the route for what they're planning.
School choice, huge issue. We have a governor that leads on it. What's your view of school choice?
Number one, education savings accounts are foundational. Parents should have more say over where their tax dollars are spent and more say over where their kids go to school. That's foundational. I'd like to expand it. There's many micro schools. I spent 8 years in education building schools. There's many schools like ours that aren't eligible for these dollars. We have to expand it so quick-acting new schools can get in, because the best way to make sure it stays is to have as many kids on the program as possible. But here's the thing. I've said this, and I believe Republicans need to say this more and more. The governor of Iowa must be the #1 advocate for public school kids in the state. There's a battle being waged for their hearts and minds. We cannot cede the ground. We have to be in that fight. So I can't wait to get in and start to work on the culture and the quality of our public schools, so our private schools also have to compete with them. It makes everybody better.
Thank you. 30 seconds. The floor is yours. What do you want people to know about Zach Lane?
My campaign, our campaign is about putting Iowa first. We have great momentum in this race. We are here to win on June 2nd. But I'm going to tell you this. There's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist that's in Storm Lake, Iowa. And he wrote an article about my campaign not too many weeks ago. And in it, he talked about my 4 key issues: keeping Iowa's kids in Iowa, saving the family farm, making education #1 in the nation again, and stopping the cancer crisis. And he said, how did we let a Republican beat us to the punch on these issues? In the middle of the article, there's a page break, and it says this: "This is how Rob Sand loses." And he's dead on. That's what we're going to do.
Thank you, Zach. Tell you, the quality of these candidates, it's like an onslaught. I am so proud to be a Republican. And we have a fifth and another outstanding candidate for governor, Eddie Andrews. Come on up. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Good. Have a seat. It's on.
What is up, Iowa?
2 little anecdotes about Eddie. I was getting pictures back there. A few people wanted pictures, and I think I was getting my picture taken with Zach Lane, and we paused just a little bit, and Eddie, who is known for maybe posting a few pictures online, photobombed me. He absolutely photobombed me.
True story. Hang on just a sec. God bless you.
And I don't know if you remember this, Eddie, but the first time you ran, brand new, you were having a fundraiser out in your district. Walked up, didn't know you from Adam. Somebody asked me to come up and do some talking to you. I'll tell you, after that first speech that you made, the passion and the common sense, you were the right fit for suburban Des Moines. Thank you for running then.
Thank you.
Thank you for running now. You are putting your money where your mouth is. And I know all of you appreciate that as well. Eddie, pro-life is important to this party. It's important to this group. The life issue is paramount. Talk about Eddie Andrews and your views on life.
100% pro-life. I just signed on to a life at conception bill, so I think everyone knows that I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. Thank you. There's a reason why life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that phrase that we always use, or the one that Joe Biden says, life, liberty, and you know the thing. There's a reason it starts with life. And we need to 100% protect life at all costs.
Thank you. I'm not laughing at your answer. I'm laughing. That Biden impression was good. And I know your sincerity of that answer is just that, sincere. We're in a battle, political battle with the woke left for many, many, many things. Religious liberty is one of them. How does Eddie Andrews and your campaign feel about, or how are you going to go about protecting religious freedom, and what's your personal views?
Thank you. That's a good question. I guess I have to say I'm the only guy on here who actually has voted for religious freedom. We strengthened the religious freedom that we had. We called it all these things called RFRA, but it's really, again, the First Amendment is first for a reason. It's designed to protect your right to have religious expression, freedom of speech. It goes to the individual's right to express worship in the way that you see fit and to serve God without any risk or any government intervention at all costs.
Thank you for that answer. Eddie, you're well aware of being in the legislature that property rights, eminent domain, the abuse of eminent domain has been a very, very hot topic, very much argued and debated. Where does Eddie Andrews stand on these issues?
No eminent domain for private gain. Say it with me. No eminent domain for private gain. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I was with the group when they coined that phrase like 5 years ago. And you'll hear me say first a lot. I was the first candidate of all the candidates for running for governor, the first one to stand alongside the farmers, the first one to stand alongside the landowners against what I call eminent domain abuse. When the Trump administration asked me how I thought about that, I gave them 5 answers. The first one out of my mouth was, it's a middle finger. It's a middle finger to the Declaration of Independence. Can I just quote that one more time? Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. What's the next sentence? It refers to government's job is to protect you, to protect your right. And I will be the strongest pro-property protection, I almost said president, I'm sorry, governor that we ever have. Thank you.
Look at the press writing right now. They're just writing away. Eddie, education choice, you know how important that is to the individuals in this room and to many, many, many thousands of Iowans, probably millions of Iowans. Eddie Andrews, the governorship of Eddie Andrews, talk about educational choice.
Continue to expand what we already had. People, it didn't just start with ESAs. I led the push for just regular district school choice, district-to-district school choice. Then we added public charter school choice. I'm all about school choice. That affected my own family. My two oldest daughters and the niece that we raised in our home went to public school K-12, but my boy, it didn't fit. And even way back then, I understood that parents need to be in charge of their kids' education. And I'm actually, after ESAs, last year I wrote another bill to expand that, and Samantha Fett has taken that up now, and we look to continue expanding school choice that all parents have the right to educate their child in the way that is best for that child.
Thank you for that. And you have almost a minute and a half to speak to this group. The floor is yours. What do you want them to know about Eddie Andrews?
Thank you, guys. I'm so honored that you guys are here today. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. When you talk about a passionate person, the reason I wear this button all the time, which if you can't read that, it just says Eddie Andrews loves Iowa. I love this state. I love the people, the resources here. And as a result, I'm the only Republican that has won 3 straight times in a purple-blue district. I have added single-handedly more Republican votes than any other district in Iowa. Now, I can't tell you what the D.C. people asked about that because they'll just say, how do you win in that district? That's the clean version of how they said it. And they said, how do you win in that district and you vote like Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, I think is how they said. And we do it in a way that Ronald Reagan did it, that Charlie Kirk did it. We talk to every single person that we can, and I say, if I agree with you, if you agree with me more so at the end of this conversation, I just ask that you humbly vote for me. And as a result, think about this. This race is different than the other races, in my humble opinion. This is not a Republican-Democrat race. Governor race is Republican, Democrat, and center this time. We're going to want a person who can address, just like Ronald Reagan, hold that banner high and attract people, more people, not just Republicans, but also people that are in the middle, and I'm the only one with the receipts, guys. I'm just saying, love to have your vote on June 2nd for Eddie Andrews. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Eddie, thank you.